Hey guys, it's Todd from Like Minded Lunatics, bringing you, it's another drink, play, swear. Hey, it's all we do around here. I mean, given the fact that we live in a world gone mad, it's all we care to do around here, given that context. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear, and welcome back to Like Minded Lunatics. No, man, Like Minded Lunatics is not just Drink, Play, Swear, and you should know this already. It's also my buddy and writing partner, Mark Gifford, doing excellent work up there on the Friday night videos. Great stuff on the Friday night videos. Sometimes I get to join him, sometimes it's Jim, sometimes it's Lottie, sometimes it's Ricky. Sometimes as an Austin filmmaker or a blues musician, you never know what you're going to get from the Friday night videos. So I hope you'll check those out. They are the best thing on the channel, hands down. Also, bang, if you haven't done so already, bang, 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 hit that subscribe button so we can see how big this family of like-minded weirdos, degenerates, runaways, and ne'er-do-wells is getting. And it gets bigger every day. That's very exciting for us. All right. What do we do here at Drink, Play, Swear? It's exactly what it sounds like. We play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage, and I tell you a story. That's right. Mostly true story. Okay, great. So, what is the game today? Oh, dude. Awesome, classic game on the NES. I can't believe we haven't played it yet. Look at this. Konami's own Jackal from 1988. Loved this game. Did not own it. Only because I couldn't find it in stores. Rented this whenever I could, played it at friends' houses, more than thrilled to own it today. Pairing it today with a Jim Beam and Coke. And get yourself something, friends. I'm sorry, it's embarrassing how sometimes I feel like I can sing. You could mute it for those parts. If you watch the show long enough, you know when I'm going to do that kind of thing. You just be like, oh, God, please, let's get through that. Oh. Okay. So, pardon me while I choke to death. We're going to play Jackal today. We're going to play Jackal today. Have a Jim Beam and Coke, and of course, I'll tell you a story. And I'm excited to do it. Thanks for being with us once again. All right, Jackal. Great game. When I was a kid, I didn't know that there were G.I. Joe games on the NES. There are, in fact, 2 G.I. Joe games on the NES. I never saw those, but when I saw this game, and look at the logo there, I just thought G.I. Joe. So I just thought, well, maybe it's related somehow. I was excited to be a part of it. The gameplay on this is special. It's a challenging game, but very fun, lots of replay value. This was many times a Friday night, Saturday night with a friend or a cousin, hanging out playing, between us watching, you know, some horror movie or some skin flick on HBO late night, trying to just see what a woman's body might look like. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we could figure that out? One of the great mysteries of a young man's life, or boy's life, I guess. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What are we talking about today in the story? Gosh, I want to talk about fate today. I know it's a big topic, and you're like, how is that a story from your life, Todd? Well, I am going to tell a story from my life. And related, a story from my wife's life. Because, of course, once you're married, your lives are entangled, aren't they? But I also want to talk about the larger point of fate and how we all sort of maybe grapple with fate. You talk about life for a second, you know? You talk about what it is to experience life, and a lot of that is in thinking about the past and predicting the future. And I'm sorry to get kind of lectury for a minute, but most of you know that I do teach classes. I'm a professor, so I get lectury at times. I apologize. Give me a second. We often look to the ancient Greeks to try to figure out how to think about things, because they were pretty smart in what they did, right? So maybe it's good to think about the passage of time in order to try to figure out if there is fate in the world, or if everything is free will or just random craziness. And so we look to the ancient Greeks. The truth is, the ancient Greeks, depending on which one you read and which one you listened to, had varying opinions on fate or fatum, right? But important to, I think, all of that is understanding how we perceive time passing, right? So if you were to think of a westernized modern idea of time and of humanity, we imagine ourselves, right, walking forward. And we use that language when we talk. Walking forward, right? Moving forward, yeah. And so we are walking into the future, meaning the past is behind us, the future is in front of us. The ancient Greeks actually thought of it the opposite way. They thought of man and woman, as not moving, okay? And you picture time moving through them, but through them from behind. So if that seems strange, think about the concept of like if you are on a beach, in an ocean, right? Standing on the beach, if you will face away from the water and toward your hotel or your beach or whatever it is, right? You can hear a wave coming, but only right before. And then the wave crashes against you, and then it moves past you, and you can view the remnants of that wave, and after a while that wave disappears. The ancient Greeks saw time that way, that you don't know what's coming, but it's coming from behind you. It's approaching. You only know it's coming right before. It crashes against you. You remember it immediately after. You watch it, you remember it, and eventually some of those memories recede or are gone. Strange. Strange how we think about things in different ways over time. That's a long lecture, Todd. Who cares? Okay, let's play some games. So when I start thinking about, look at this. I love this game. You're pretty much saving POWs. What could be more noble than that? You're blowing up these houses here and picking up your buddies, you see. That's the point of the mission. And you're trying to get them to a launch pad, a helicopter pad, to save them, to get them away. It's cool. When my wife and I were engaged, we were trying to figure out what to do with our lives next. And we often find ourselves in life trying to figure out what's next. And you often ask yourself, what can I predict about the future? And what does that have to do with fate? And what does that have to do with choice? And what am I supposed to do next? And you see, you get older and you've already made a bunch of decisions. If you have kids, the answer is take care of them. If you have a job, the answer is do your job. But when you're of a certain age, still young, so much choice. And it's beautiful, that choice, but also can be intimidating. Yeah? And so often fate comes into play. You wonder, well, what am I supposed to be? So, oh, what did I just grab? I've played this game a lot. I don't think I've ever seen that star. So, my wife and I decided to go to grad school. I'm going to pause for a second and get with my beverage. We decided to go to grad school. But where to go, you see? I had already been to Kansas. For those of you who watch the YouTube channel, you know that I did spend some time in Kansas going to grad school. I came back to Texas with a master's degree in English, but didn't really have much of a plan and didn't have a good job yet. Right? So my wife and I were engaged at this time, trying to figure out what the next step was for us, and she really wanted to go to grad school. She hadn't been yet. And I wanted to do more school because I didn't have a direction in terms of employment, you see. And so I felt like school was a nice direction because it meant I was building towards something. Who knows what that is, but just as long as I'm in school, right? So we applied to schools, but where to apply? Well, my wife always wanted to live in New York City. It was just a dream of hers. And I'd never been there. I asked her, why would you want to live there? She says, because it's the scariest thing I can think of. That's her. So we applied. But it was like, well, should we stay in Texas or should we live in New York, we decided to leave it up to fate. And what we meant by that was fate will tell us what to do in the future. So we applied to schools in Texas and we applied to schools in New York. And we decided wherever we both get in, that's where we'll go. So see, we were trying to leave it up to some sort of, what, cosmic force? Some sort of book that had already been written. And so we waited to hear. And what would fate say? Nothing. Because, well, thankfully, we were both accepted to schools in both states. In the same city, in fact. Check this out. Look, I let these guys off here. Look at that. Save a bunch of dudes. Isn't that satisfying? Look at all those guys. Uh-oh. This dude's about to blast me. Okay. Do I have any more guys in here? No, that's it. Look at that, and the chopper's off. Isn't that wonderful? Cool music, cool gameplay. Love this game, and then you know me, I like a good boss battle. We're coming up on a boss battle. So we moved to New York. We had to make that decision, though. Fate didn't make that for us. We both got into schools that we really liked in both states. So we made the decision to go to New York. We lived there for 2 years, and we enjoyed it. And the plan had always been to move back to Texas. That was just it. We were going to move back to Texas, and that would help us buy a home, get jobs, have a family. That was always the plan. Something we talked about for many years. But the longer we stayed in New York, the more we liked it. And we thought, well, maybe we could ride this out. We could live in New York longer and just see what happens in terms of the home and the family and all that. And again, for some reason, we left it up to fate. And we said, well, let's try to get jobs in New York and try to get jobs in Texas and just see what happens, whatever makes, you know, whatever is most prudent, you know. Here come these tanks. Trying to be logical. We were just trying to have something make the decision for us, you see. So, look at these dudes. I sounded like Mark there, didn't I? Look at these dudes, man. Oh, come on, T. Get it together. So, the short version of this is that the same thing happened again. When we relied on fate to decide it for us, we got jobs in both places. I was offered the store manager position at Books of Wonder, where I was going to be one of the bosses. Nice, first level defeated. Excellent. Pressure's off, boss defeated. I was going to be offered a store manager position at this bookstore that I had loved working at. Even though it wasn't a dream gig, it would be a living wage. And my wife was given a position at a firm in New York, and that they would even get an apartment locator that would help us find a place on the Upper West Side, maybe. Gosh, that's a dream. So we thought, well, if we can't find anything in Texas, we're going to stay. We're going to stay behind. Well, the problem is we got gigs in Texas. And even though mine was like, again, not a dream gig, I got like, what, a low rent professor gig in San Antonio, starting position, you know, low pay and everything. But my wife got a good gig offer in San Antonio. I was like, man, again, we can't rely on fate. And it was so frustrating because isn't that what you want when you're young? Don't you want a voice from above to tell you what to do? But the fact is that I think it's like the ancient Greeks talked about. That wave crashes into you, and you can anticipate that sound of that wave approaching from behind only so much. And so you have to make your own decisions. Interesting enough, looking forward for the ancient Greeks was thinking about the past and what you know has happened, right? We thought about what we knew, we thought about what we hoped, and we made a decision to come back to Texas. It was a hard one. So what is the point here, besides the fact that I just smoked those dudes and saved my friends in this game? The point is that each of us are allowed to have our own beliefs about fate. And I'm not going to try to change your mind about anything, to be honest. But I will say that it has been most helpful for me in the past few years not to think about myself as someone looking for what fate wants, and not even trying to push what I want so much, but trying to observe the past, observe the present, and just try to figure out what makes the most sense for the future. And I happen to think it led us to a good place. I hope it has led you to a good place. I feel pretty good about being in level 2, trying to save my friends here. But I'm going to wrap up today just in some conclusions about fate and in my past. I don't know, man. You do you, you believe what you want to believe. And all of a sudden I'm realizing that Professor Todd playing his video game has forgotten to nurse his beverage, so I'm gonna have to take this one down hard, okay? But I'm capable of doing it because when I look into my past, the last 80 videos, I've seen that I've done it just fine. So in between now and the next time I talk to you, I'm T. Rizzy, son. See ya.